Welcome to Aussie Carnival, where we talk all things topics about Australia with international students from all over the world. Third episode, Aussie Political.
Two rifles, an AR-15 and a .308 FN, Martin Bryant made his way through Port Arthur historic site, killing 35 people and injuring a further 23. Just 12 days later, the then Prime Minister John Howard pushed through a sweeping set of gun regulations, despite a lack of support from his rural constituency. Within a month, the government passed the National Firearms Agreement, transforming gun legislation in the country. Certain semi-automatics and self-loading rifles and shotguns were banned. New licensing requirements were adopted, and a national firearms registry was established.
Oh yeah, this was a very big topic when this happened. So they brought back all this automatic weapons, and a lot of people weren't happy, like my dad, because, you know, they're taking away their guns. But Dad realised now it's better because it's not like America getting shut up every time. Yeah. So yeah, what do you guys think?
So before it was like in the US?
Yeah, all automatic weapons, yeah.
And everybody could get one anywhere.
Correct, yeah. Now it's just self-reloading or bolt action. So much lower.
So is it still legalized here?
Yeah, still here, yeah.
It's very information, you need a lot of things to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely shows like how quick action takes.
Yep.
It's a good good results, I guess. Right. And that's why Australia doesn't have an issue with guns at the moment because of that. So in 1996?
1996, I think, yeah. 1997, 98 it was.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think.
And back to those days, like the Australian government have bought their guns and all, and they have dumped their guns to control the guns.
Well, for me, guns weren't actually never really the problem. It's the people. When you put your gun on the table without anyone touching it, it has no power. No power. Same thing as me lifting up, having a cigarette, but I don't light it up. I just play around with it. So guns were never a problem. So therefore, that is why we have to take it away from the people. The world is beautiful, but we humans, we complicate things. Really, we do. By misusing a lot of things that, guns, so many things, drugs, all that. So with that, with what I've seen, by taking away the gun, you're taking away the power. So yeah, it's good that I'm still alive to this day, with no guns on my face. So yeah.
30-second response from each of you on the question of same-sex marriage. Will it be legislated, legalised in the next term of Parliament? Tony Abbott, just a quick response.
It's a very important issue. My sister Chris is in the audience. I know how important an issue it is. It's not the only important issue. And I've got to say that as far as a incoming coalition government is concerned, the priority will be on things like reducing cost of living pressure and increasing job security.
Would you allow a conscience vote for coalition MPs?
We had a vote in the National Parliament about a year ago. It was fairly decisive against same-sex marriage. If this issue were to come up again in the future, it would be a matter for a future party room.
Okay, and Prime Minister, just a quick response to you. Will we see this legislated in the next term?
One, I support marriage equality. And the reason I do has been well canvassed in the national debate and why I've changed my position. Number two, I believe this is just a mark of decency to same-sex couples across the country who wish the same loving, caring relationship that, for example, I've had with Therese, my wife, now for the last 32 years, and for that to be formalised.
Never really like politics, so I'll just keep it simple. I'm neither with it nor against it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think like Maria said, like he's not actually saying like it's legal, but he's indirectly pointing out to that like subject. I'm wondering why like the gay marriage is still an issue.
No, it's no issue anymore. It's no issue. Yeah.
Australians will soon vote in a referendum on whether to establish an Indigenous voice to Parliament. All Australians will be able to vote yes or no on October the 14th. The successful yes vote would recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in Australia's constitution and lead to the creation of an Indigenous body to advise the government and Parliament on laws and policies affecting Indigenous people. First Nations people in Australia have faced a long and painful history of colonisation and dispossession. Compared with the rest of the Australian population, Indigenous people often experience the worst outcomes in health, employment, education and incarceration rates. Efforts to close the gap between Indigenous Australians and the rest of the country have consistently failed, and supporters of The Voice say it will improve the lives of First Nations peoples.
It's a huge issue, and it was very unclear what yes means and what no means.
Exactly, it's very unclear what it was. No one understood it.
Yeah, that's why many Australians thought, well, if I don't know what I'm voting for, then I'll just say no.
Correct, yeah.
And because probably whoever initiated it didn't really wanted a yes. They only did it because they won the election based on promising that they are going to do something towards these communities.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, so I was here during the debate and everything, and I knew that they weren't going to win. It was going to be enough.
Yeah.
The Queen's reign is over, Charles is king, and now there's a renewed push to make Australia a republic. We've been asked once before, and it was on this date in 1999 the country said no, and nowhere was more emphatic than Queensland. Max Futcher reports.
Do now proclaim Prince Charles Philip Arthur George to be King Charles III.
The torch for Australia's constitutional monarchy is passed. But cutting ties has been a live issue since Paul Keating's 1993 election win.
The government will consider whether there is sufficient consensus in the community to justify a referendum.
Nothing concrete would happen until the Constitutional Convention 5 years later.
It was like the Tour de France, because every day you had these little breakaway groups and we'd paddle up.
The convention backed a referendum, but the real question was the question. Labor wanted voters asked simply whether Australia should make the change. Prime Minister John Howard insisted the so-called bipartisan appointment model be spelt out. Monarchists branded it the politician's republic.
So technically King Charles is the King of Australia as well. Yeah, so he's the King of Australia, the King of Canada, King of New Zealand. So it was a no vote. It's probably not going to happen for another maybe 100 years, 50 years. So yeah. Well, what do you guys think?
I think it's crazy that there's still monarchy in 2024. Anywhere, like here in Spain, whatever. It's crazy.
I'm surprised.
Really?
What would you vote?
Me?
Yeah.
Keep the monarchy, I reckon. I hope it's good.
Really?
Yeah, it's very good. It's a very good system, I think. Better than political.
I think it looks good on money.
Yeah, the money, yeah.
Well, other than that, no really comment. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Anything do you want to? Do you like it?
Yeah.
You think it's good? Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.